So what is a SQL Server health check? Well, my introduction was way back when. Some folks here might remember that term, a SQL Ranger, I think is what they called them. That was basically the sort of PFEs, the premier field engineers who would come out on site and perform health checks, or they call them RAPs or SQL RAPs, rapid assessment something program. Maybe they come and they tell you what's good, what's bad, and then tell you what to do about it. So when we do a health check at Straight Path, we kind of glance on the what's good. We like to give some praise, but you're not paying us to give false assurance and hope. You're paying us to fix problems. So we want to point out the things that are bad. So we really zero in on a health check on what's bad, how to fix what's bad, and then prioritize the order of fixes for you. Because a lot of times in a health check, there's many things wrong. Some of them are kind of important. Some of them are less important. And we want you to know which ones are which. So why should you do a SQL Server health check? Well, pretty simple. It's best to be proactive and preventative and do some planning. I like P's, I guess. And we want to keep your environment well-tuned and running. This is things that my doctor, my dentist, my mechanic, all the small engines that we use at my farm would actually love. The reality of what we do with SQL Server health checks is people call us up. Most of our customers call us up and say, help, something hurts. Very rarely do we get a customer that calls up and says, hey, our SQL Server is running okay. Can you tell us what's good and what's bad? So that's kind of how I treat my teeth, my body, my cars, and the small engines. I kind of wait till something goes wrong. But in order to know what's broken or how to fix it, you have to know what's broken first. And that's what the health check does. So hopefully you're here not with specific problems, but you just want to know how your SQL Server is. And that's what this is for. You can do your own SQL Server health check. Yes, we do services. Yes, we sell services. But on the links, and again, all the links from these slides, just to reiterate, are going to be, I'll put into the everyone chat. I see that somebody shared it, but they only shared it internally. It just went out to everybody. There's a blog post. I have my blog from yesterday, which actually have all the links in here. So you don't have to worry about clicking these links. But you can do your own SQL Server health check. And I have a lot of content on my blog about how to do it. And there's lots of tools out there from the internet. Brent Dozar's tools, Glenn Berry scripts are great. There's things in DBA tools, PowerShell module that you can use. There are many, many ways to do these. The trick is to do it and to start focusing on something. So check out that link in the list of links and start looking at doing your own SQL Server health check. So before we get into it, I just want to have a quick admission. If you ever had a home inspection done when you're selling a home, the home inspectors find sort of a few kinds of problems, and we do too. There's actual problems like these, like your roof is falling apart and it has 6 months of life left. That's kind of a big deal. That's a super critical and going to make a gigantic difference fix. That would be something like you're not doing backups, for instance, which you may laugh, but we see all the time. Important. So this is like, hey, your electrical service is 100 amp and it should be 200 amp because your breakers are stretched out. It's important and it's hurting a little bit. It could in the future. For SQL Server, that's going to be maybe your CPU is running in balance mode. There's things we find that maybe aren't that big of a deal at all, but I put this in the middle because the auditors care about it. That would be like, hey, your SQL Server is listening on port 1433. I don't really care about that because the people who are looking for the SQL servers in your network, they don't care at port. They're going to scan all the ports anyway. But some auditor someplace is saying you have to do it. So we have to sometimes do things to make the auditors happy. And I know a few of our customers are here, and I know a few of you are in industries where the auditors sort of tell you what to do and they kind of run the show. There are some things that are kind of a big deal, but not really a big deal. Like I can't think of a good home inspection one, but maybe you don't have a proper drip edge someplace on a gutter or something. I don't know. It's there, and we should look at it. And then there's something that's something we should talk about planning. Like, hey, why are you still on SQL Server 2016? So the point though is there's a lot of things that are subjective. The 7 things we're going to talk about today are not subjective. These are things that if these are not good, your environment is not good. So what are they? Well, rather than list them here, this is the list we're going to talk about today and the list we talk about on that blog post. But missing backups, integrity checks, CPUs running in balance mode, or your servers running in balanced power mode, max memory is not set, Nobody's watching your SQL server. That happens all the time. You're not patching, you're not upgrading. You have bad server config or VM config or cluster config, and we'll talk about that as well. So let's get into it.